Hello and welcome to another UltraTech product training session. Today we are talking about the Ultra Spill Deck and Spill Deck Bladder Systems flexible models. UltraTech is known for its rotationally molded polyethylene spill decks and spill containment pallets, but we do offer some options for when the traditional hard wall spill decks are not necessarily the ideal solution. You can see from this picture that the flexible model 4-drum spill deck is very similar to the other 4-drum spill decks that we offer. In fact, it uses the same grating. The difference, of course, being that the containment portion of the deck is made with an 18-ounce vinyl instead of the rotationally molded polyethylene. But one of the advantages that the flexible model has is that it can go from this to this. The components can be disassembled, and you can see it breaks down to a much more compact package, which can be very beneficial as far as storage or shipping is concerned. The weight capacity of the flexible models is 1,500 pounds for the 1-drum, 3,000 pounds for the 2-drum, and 6,000 pounds for the 4-drum. Those are uniformly distributed loads, so any weight that's put on the deck needs to be uniformly distributed or it may not meet those published capacities. As far as containment capacity, the 1-drum holds up to 5.5 gallons, the 2-drum 11 gallons, and the 4-drum 22 gallons. It is important to understand that assuming these are being used for 55-gallon drums, none of these decks will meet the EPA or SBCC regulations on their own, unless multiple units are connected so that they can share containment capacity. This is done by using bulkhead fittings that serve a dual purpose. First, they physically secure the decks together, and secondly, they allow spilled liquids to travel from one deck to another. In addition, we also offer a flexible model spill deck bladder system. Similar to its hard-walled counterpart, this system has a hidden bladder that will unfurl to provide enough additional containment capacity to meet regulations. The weight capacities for the bladder systems is the same for the flexible models, 1,500 pounds, 3,000 pounds, and 6,000 pounds respectively. With the addition of the bladders, the containment capacity for all three sizes is 66 gallons, which, as I mentioned, is more than enough to meet the EPA and SBCC regulations. There is a link below to a video that explains those regulations in further detail. When we look at the spill deck and spill deck bladder system side by side, you can see that there is a significant height difference. The spill deck is 2.5 inches tall, and the spill deck bladder system is twice the height at 5 inches tall. A look inside the deck will show you where that height difference comes from. With the bladder systems, we use a support platform underneath the grating. You can see in this picture how that support system is created using this grid network that locks in place to support the grating and the drums on top. But that grid system also breaks down so that the bladder system is almost as compact as the spill decks when disassembled. The sump is secured using these black plastic hooks. They are installed around the perimeter of the sump and hook into the grating. Typical applications for the flexible model spill decks are like those of our other spill decks. It's probably going to be indoors in manufacturing, warehousing, chemical processing, property management, or auto service, or any number of industries where 55-gallon drums can be used. Why would you use a flexible model spill deck over one of our others? Well, as I've mentioned previously, they are much more compact. They can be disassembled, so if storage or shipping is a concern, this could be the best solution for you. It also happens to be the least expensive spill deck that we offer. Why wouldn't you? The spill decks have a relatively low containment capacity compared to its hard-walled counterparts. In fact, they have exactly 1/2 of the capacity of the plastic spill decks. The flexible bladder systems do not have this issue because of the additional capacity provided by the bladders. And of course, it is flexible versus rigid. There can be some perceived issues with flexible models, perhaps not being as rugged or as heavy-duty as the rigid walls. And there can be some actual ones, just depending on what your applications are. Other products to consider if you're looking at flexible spill decks and aren't quite convinced. Well, of course, there is the standard hard-walled plastic spill decks. and also the plastic spill deck bladder systems and inline spill deck systems. There are links to all of these products below should you be interested in exploring those options further. Thank you for your time. Look for more product training videos on our YouTube channel.